Hi, I'm Kate, and today I'm going to be talking to you about the ethical dilemma of designer babies. In the same realm as GMOs, designer babies come from couples who want to genetically modify their future offspring. In vitro fertilization involves inserting sperm into an egg in a test tube instead of a woman. Scientists have developed the technology to screen these embryos' genes or manually edit their genetic code and select which ones to put inside the woman based on the preferences of the couple. In order to understand designer babies, you have to know the two ways that they can be formed. Genetic screening involves screening the embryos and having a scientist select which one to implant in the uterus based on parent preferences, typically pertaining to picking an embryo without any genetic diseases or selecting the sex of the baby. There have been attempts to use this technology for other traits such as eye color, height, and even intelligence, but this research has been unsuccessful. On the other hand, genetic editing involves using this technology to physically alter the genetic sequence of DNA before inserting it into the uterus. This was first performed in 2018, where Chinese scientists attempted to make twin girls immune from AIDS by deactivating a protein gateway called CCR5. This may seem like a good thing, but research has proven that this could lead to unintended consequences for these girls, such as having learning disabilities, a lower resistance to disease, or a shorter lifespan. Everyone involved in this experiment has been jailed, and genetic editing has not been practiced since. The first advantage of genetic modification is that more people could have the opportunity to become parents. Nowadays, it's easy to get a genetic test to determine the chance a child will have a disease by looking at the parent's genes. More and more people are choosing not to have children because they have a history of cancer or disabilities that they fear their children will experience. Designer babies could give more people the opportunity to have healthy children. Genetic diseases could be eradicated. With in vitro fertilization, scientists can screen genetic codes for mutations that could lead to genetic diseases such as cystic fibrosis, sickle cell anemia, Huntington's disease, or Tay-Sachs disease. The more babies that undergo IVF gene screening, the fewer people would die young or live disease-ridden lives. Parents could also choose the sex of their baby. Many parents have strong feelings about the sex they want their child to be. In some countries, women will go so far as to abort their children if they are not in the preferred gender. By going through this embryo and implanting either a female or male child in a woman's uterus, the baby's gender can be predetermined. Lastly, the future of smarter and stronger humans. Genetic modification does not have to be for superficial reasons, such as eye color or sex. In the future, scientists believe they could modify babies to have better memories or improve other brain functions. Not only do parents want their kids to be smart, but society as a whole could benefit from anyone with stronger minds. One of the first disadvantages of genetic modification is that the concept of a designer baby is inherently classist. Treatments involving IVF can cost over $10,000, and this price is likely to keep increasing as the technology allows for more advanced gene editing. This makes the prospect of a designer baby unattainable to the average family, and even more enticing to the wealthy. If the rich are able to have the healthiest, strongest, and most beautiful babies, the wealth disparity will only continue to grow. Next, babies cannot ethically consent to have their genes modified. Within scientific experiments, one of the most important components of the scientific method is participants giving their consent. In the case of children, it becomes the parents' job to make judgments on their behalf. But should anyone have the authority to change a fundamental part of a human, such as their genes? There's also no telling what the long-term consequences of gene editing are. Because this field is so new, we aren't completely sure what will happen in the future, and how the lifespan of babies born to IVF will be different from those who aren't. Gender imbalances would also be exacerbated. With misogyny rampant around the world, a choice of a baby's gender may lead to a disproportionate amount of men. As shown by China's male crisis, too many men can lead to high amounts of crime, mental health issues, labor market problems, and a large amount of single and lonely men. The concept of designer babies also opens Pandora's box. For thousands of years, humans have relied on evolution and nature to determine their offspring. With new technology coming out every day that is both life-saving and life-destroying, scientists must draw a line somewhere and recognize the dangers future generations could be if the idea of a designer baby is popularized. In my opinion, designer babies have too many advantages to have this technology completely avoided, but I think we should be aware of the power this technology holds. A good compromise would be to allow genetic screening, which has saved many lives, and to continue to ban genetic editing. Scientists should continue to study this technology in a laboratory setting and work together with policymakers to ensure the ethicality of these practices and regulate the market. And then here are my references. Thank you for listening.